Question number 8 reads, what is the most important issue facing Congress in the next session? And we start with Mr. Olson.
Well, I think the most important issue facing Congress in the next session is to continue our recovery from the economic crisis we've experienced over the last 6 years. Unfortunately, Congress put a Band-Aid on the problem and rushed out to come home, run for re-election, and not take care of the business of the American people. We need to make sure that the bad lending practices that got us into this mess are stopped. And we need to look at Wall Street. People up there who committed crimes need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And we also need to look at the federal government. The federal government played a significant role in the crisis we went through. The federal government instituted programs like the Community Reinvestment Act, which requires that banks make high-risk loans to individuals in their community. High default rate, the government made us do it. We need to take a look at that and make sure it doesn't happen again. And finally, the taxpayers of America should not be on the hook for anything that happened over the past 6 months. It's not their fault. We need to extend tax cuts for our families. My opponent doesn't feel the same way. He voted, as I mentioned earlier, for the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac bailout, which increased the debt limit of the United States by over $800 billion. That bill also siphoned money into the hands of community housing organizations, groups like Acorn, $600 million. That's part of the problem. That's what we need to fix. Again, he voted to increase your taxes by $4,000. Working family of 2, $8,000. He's voted to unionize every business in Texas. That will kill small businesses. We are a right-to-work state, and we always should be. Again, my opponent goes up to Washington, votes one way, and comes back down here and tells you what you want to hear. That's not leadership.
Congressman Lampson, 2 minutes.
These issues obviously vary. Clearly, the economy right now is the most important critical piece of legislation, and we'll be having many, in my opinion, over the next several months, addressing this problem for a good while. Obviously, there have been other issues that are of critical importance, and they sort of come and go, and what gets singled out for emphasis at particular times. So perhaps the bigger question ought to be, is who's more qualified to be effective on the variety of issues that a congressman is going to deal with during the course of the term? When we get disrupted with a visit from a Hurricane Ike in the middle of a major piece of legislation and debate and the work that's going on. Now, I maintain that the seniority that I've gained for 10 years service in the House of Representatives, the work that I have done from trying to pull people together to work on child protection issues 12 years ago, following the death of Laura Kate Smitter, to the work that I have done this year by creating the Congressional Center Aisle Caucus, pulling people together to find common ground solutions to the difficult problems. I maintain that we're not going to be able to solve any of the problems that we face, whether it is the economy, or whether it is Iraq, or health care, or anything else, energy, until we stop pushing the decisions to the extremes and pull them back to the center. We can do that. I proved it by getting the number of people together for the Center Aisle Caucus that is now functioning. That's the choice that you face now. Do you want to try to change the way we have tried to do business and not succeeded in Congress and in our government in the United States? Or do you want to have a new way of doing things? I'll bring you the new way, and it will be successful because I've proven to be an effective, independent, and solution-driven member of Congress.
Mr. Olson, 1 minute follow-up.
Well, the congressman has spent a lot of time tonight talking about his contacts, his seniority in Washington, what he's got through 10 years there. He seems to have forgotten that I, too, have 10 years working up in Washington, and I have many of the same contacts that he has. I've worked extensively with the Texas delegation in a bipartisan matter to achieve things that are important for Texans. The thing I have to offer you is my word. My word is my bond. You won't have to worry about me standing here in front of you and telling you one thing and reading in the paper that I voted another way in Washington. If I tell you what I stand on an issue, you can count on that vote being the same thing in Washington. That's very different from my opponent. Again, we've had a string of broken promises and failed leadership. It's got to stop.